Welcome to this explainer. Okay, if you've felt the ground literally shifting beneath your e-commerce business lately, well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're unpacking the pretty dramatic shifts happening in the 2026 dropshipping landscape. We're going to impartially compare two leading software solutions, the established heavyweight DSers and the automated challenger Easync, to help you figure out how to adapt and, honestly, how to thrive.
Here is our quick roadmap for today. 1. The new dropshipping reality. 2. The DSers dilemma. 3. Enter Easync. 4. A head-to-head comparison. And finally, 5. Making the right choice.
All right, let's jump right into part 1, the new dropshipping reality and why the old model is frankly breaking.
There's this great quote from our source material that really hits the nail on the head. Listing a low-price AliExpress item on Amazon for 5x the price isn't working anymore, right? For years, dropshippers made absolute bank doing exactly this. But between rising manufacturing costs and completely new global market dynamics, those easy margins are pretty much dead. Consumers are just way too savvy now. There's no way they're paying $50 on Amazon for something they can find for $10 somewhere else.
And it's not just the shoppers wising up. Governments have fundamentally changed the rules of the game. Just look at the timeline from the summer of 2026. On June 24th, the US suspended its duty-free exemption for imports under $800. And then, literally a week later, the EU slapped a €3 fee on small overseas parcels. All those little duty-free loopholes that basically built the traditional dropshipping model, totally wiped out.
Now add those extra fees on top of incredibly impatient shoppers. Get this. According to DHL, 81% of buyers will literally just abandon their cart if they don't see a delivery option they like. I mean, who wants to wait 3 weeks for a package anymore? No one. To actually be profitable today, your shipping speed matters just as much as your base price.
Moving on to part 2, the DSers dilemma. Let's look at its strengths, but also its limits. Look, DSers is undeniably strong for a very specific type of user, the beginner. It gives you this highly integrated ecosystem built tightly around AliExpress, Alibaba, and 16088. Plus, it's got a super handy Chrome extension for saving hot products. It syncs seamlessly across Shopify and WooCommerce, and the advanced plan starts at just $19.90 a month. So if you're just learning the ropes of Chinese suppliers, it gets you up and running really fast. But, and this is a pretty big but, as your business scales, you can easily fall into what the source calls a semi-automated trap. You still have to manually map the supplier. Then, you sit around waiting for a Shopify order. When it finally arrives, you have to manually approve it in DSers. And then, it redirects you to physically click through and pay for the item on AliExpress. There's really no true automation happening here. Imagine doing that for hundreds of orders a week. It creates massive friction.
The real kicker, though, is vendor lock-in. Your entire supply chain is heavily restricted to just Chinese platforms. By being locked into one single region, your business is completely vulnerable to the exact tariffs and massive shipping delays we were just talking about. You just lose that flexibility to adapt when the market shifts.
Which brings us to part 3. Enter Easync, the automated challenger. So while DSers is heavily tied to China, Easync takes more of a multi-platform approach. It doesn't totally abandon AliExpress, but it balances out your sourcing by integrating major local retail hubs like Amazon and Walmart. This gives you maximum flexibility. Want express shipping or maybe name brand items? You can source locally from Amazon or Walmart and completely bypass those new import tariffs.
But the absolute magic word for Easync, the thing that fundamentally separates it from DSers, is autonomous. When a customer places an order on your store, Easync automatically fills in the buyer details and places that order with the supplier within the 60 seconds. And it all happens quietly in the background. No manual mapping, no giant pileups of orders to review, and no clicking away to authorize payments.
Okay, part 4. Let's do a rapid-fire head-to-head comparison on the metrics that actually matter. DSers versus Easync. First up, let's look at the most direct impact on your customer's experience, shipping times. With DSers, you are often stuck with delivery times of 12 to 20 plus days. Because Easync utilizes local sourcing, delivery times absolutely plummet to an average of just 2 to 7 days. Remember that 81% cart abandonment stat? Slashing your shipping time is exactly how you recapture those lost sales. Now, what about scaling financially? DSers actually restricts you to just one single connected store on their $19.90 plan. Easync starts a bit higher at $49.99 for their basic plan, sure, but that includes unlimited store connections right out of the gate. So yes, the upfront price is higher, but the sheer operational cost and the headache of manually approving thousands of orders on DSers far outweighs those initial subscription savings.
Async also packs a dynamic repricing engine, which is a really crucial feature that DSers lacks. Here's how it works. Say a product costs $18 from your supplier. You set a universal rule in Async saying, hey, I always want a 25% margin. The software automatically lists the product for $28. But more importantly, if your supplier randomly changes their cost, Async automatically updates your retail price around the clock to protect your profit. Zero manual math required. I love that.
And finally, part 5, making the right choice, the final verdict.
So here is the final breakdown at a glance. DSers remains a super solid, affordable platform if you are a beginner looking to test the waters of AliExpress, and you really don't mind putting in the manual labor. However, if you are actively scaling up and you need fast local shipping, multi-store support, and a completely hands-off, autonomous fulfillment process, well, the data points pretty clearly point toward Easync.
As the e-commerce world gets crazier with new customs fees and incredibly impatient buyers, it really all comes down to the kind of infrastructure you want to build. So ask yourself this: are you building a business that requires your constant manual approval just to function? Or are you building a scalable system that runs autonomously while you sleep? Take that question with you as you strategize your next move in 2026. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.